Anyways, maybe I'll hear that echo in the back. Let me go ahead and mute my video so I can keep up with the comments in the background. What's going on, everyone? How are y'all doing today? It's a beautiful moment. I actually have decent lighting right now. Of course, it is a very beautiful day outside. Hopefully, it's a beautiful day no matter where you are, no matter what kind of weather you have. But it is nice that it does really feel like spring has started here, at least here in the southern United States of America. What's going on, tribe? My beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love. Welcome to Astro Fenixx. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a deeper dive into the astrology, mainly what's coming up over the next couple of months, but also kind of looking at the past. I'm going to be reading some passages from Inside the Degrees. And guys, brothers, sisters, are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? I don't think y'all are ready for this. Like, this is going to be a very, very interesting next few months. And, you know, a lot of people are going to get caught up in, you know, I was spurred to make this video for multiple reasons, to go live about this. And a lot of it does have to deal with, excuse me, a lot of what you have seen in the media lately. At least here, of course, in the United States, you have the whole, damn, I damn near forgot her name, Cardi B, Jussie Smollett, the freaking Mueller report, Trump, and of course you have Brexit going on, and probably a host of other things happening in other countries that you don't really hear about because the media doesn't want to talk about those things. I think there was this very senseless war that we're fighting in the Middle East. I believe another school or something was bombed. Either it was a school or a church, and I think like 20 plus kids died, school kids that have nothing to do with this fucking war, but they're so-called, you know, leaders, parents, grandparents, elders, you know, teachers, whatever you want to call it, are being fucking morons and are deciding to destroy the lives of those for their own gain. And it's kind of bullshitty. And, you know, I started off my journey with all this stuff in that sphere. I studied conspiracy theories. I was into the whole 9/11 thing, got into all these different things with swine flu and HARP and all of these, oh, we're being controlled and all of this other stuff, right? And that's how I kind of got my start. You know, I was exposed to the documentary The Secret when I was in 8th grade, which spoke about the law of attraction, and that was when a lot of this really began to start to come up. That was around, that was around 2005, 2006. Although a lot of it really didn't pop up until 2012, but I got exposed to a lot of this information several years before that when I was younger. And naturally, as a Sagittarius rising and a Scorpio sun in the 12th house, this stuff very much so interested me. Anything that was hidden and occult and magical and or fucked up in some aspects too, I was very much so interested in it. So I, you know, studied that stuff alongside my dad and my family and stuff. Of course, me and my dad were the ones who were the most interested in it in my at least immediate family. But as time progresses, and it's like we get memes that talk about these things, you see all of this sensationalism, the sensationalist, slapsticky front cover of the magazine type of news that people get so fucking caught up on. And it's hard to avoid them these days. And yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm on social media and stuff. I don't really like I mean, yeah, I get on YouTube pretty much every day. I look at Reddit pretty much every day. I do get on Facebook every day. I don't always post every day, and I don't really get too involved, especially on Facebook and shit. But it's hard to avoid this stuff. Even if you were to like not be on the internet, people talk about it and shit like that, right? But there is so much of it right now, and a lot of it is confusion. A lot of it is, and these things are going to happen. So it's like, but the fact that, what information we receive in many ways is controlled, right? A lot of it's controlled. The South Node and the Capricorn is really revealing, and it's really triggering a lot of people right now when it comes to Capricorn-like energies. Success, what it means to be a success, this whole celebrity culture, the news, politics, government, societies, alliances, all of this stuff is really coming to a head right now. And a lot of people I see, especially on Facebook, a lot of people are getting caught hook, line, and sinker, because it's not that these things wouldn't have happened, because they would have, but they get too caught up in the fucking headlines. And then they get even caught up in the subtitles. They don't know how to read between the lines. If they knew astrology, they definitely know what the fuck was going on. Now, can astrology solve all of our problems? I don't think so. That's why I think there are certain people that are good at astrology, there are other people that are more into yoga, there are other people that are more into human design, there are other people who are more into chakras, or other people who are into more, eating healthy and all these different things. But when we bring and combine all these aspects, that's kind of what you get with the new age. But even the new age, it's become very slapsticky, very sensationalized, very this just in, like, top headline-esque. It's like, oh, do yoga for 30 days and you'll manifest the man or woman of your dreams. Or, do this for 30 days and, you'll get your dream job. And you can, but I think there's an issue. Or like, go vegan, it's going to solve all your problems. Not to throw shade at vegans and stuff like that, because there are very positive and still very much so accepting vegans out there of, if someone eats meat, then they don't just bash them and shit and be like, how come you're not vegan, right? It's like, I think we all can agree that probably a diet that does consist more of fruits and vegetables, majority, is probably what's best for us. I just ate an apple. It felt really good eating that apple. It felt really good eating that apple. I also had some salmon before that, and the salmon was really good, don't get me wrong, but I did admittedly feel better after eating the apple than after eating the salmon. Now, albeit salmon is fucking delicious, and I'm not going to just give up salmon, right? But you see that sort of stuff where it's like, oh my gosh, avocados are going to, realign your chakras. Now this video isn't about avocados and vegans and all that sort of stuff. I'm just kind of painting a picture that even within the spiritual community, when you have people turn to this pocket of society, which is still in the minority as far as like the new age and how it's manifesting, how people turn to this because they're sick of the old bullshit. They're sick of reading Newsweek and watching Fox and CNN and all these other bullshit things. Then they turn to the new age. But then even in the new age, there's still headlines, slapsticky stuff, slapsticky astrology, all that sort of stuff, where it's like, today for Aries, this is going to happen. And today for Taurus, this is going to happen. And it's just like a paragraph. And it doesn't really talk anything about transits. It doesn't really talk anything about really that. I mean, and I can talk about a transit and tell you, hey, today Mercury is stationed direct on top of Neptune. And I can give you a metaphor for what that means, but a lot of times with these slapsticky astrology descriptions and daily horoscopes, the freaking daily horoscope apps that you will download onto your phone, 99% of that is bullshit. And it's not that they don't help, it's just bullshit because they don't actually get into how this stuff affects you. I remember I used to have one of those apps, you know, and they weren't, and sometimes they were correct, but like it's just there's more. There's more to this shit. There's more to this shit, guys. There's more to this shit. And this video is really me. It's like, you know, this morning I actually had an interview at another place, and when I got home, I started. I had the feeling, the urge to just look at some astrological charts. I was looking at the charts for like, you know, when Neptune goes direct, when it goes retrograde, and of course Mercury, and seeing the dance of Venus and Mars and Jupiter and all this. And then this had me going back to transits that happened in the 1850s. And then this landed me in a whole, this is the rabbit hole I went on. Then this landed me into listening to this composer and this song that he made, and then it turns out to be about the gods, and then that even connected to what's happening now. And I want to talk about that with you all. I'm just prefacing it. So I'm gonna, of course, talk about these things, and I'll go in and out. I might not be as engaged with the comments today with the live feed. I'll go ahead and engage with you guys right now, but especially when I'm looking at the charts and just showing you different things. The next coming months are going to be very powerful, very pivotal, and you know, things are going to kind of slow down a bit, but they're also going to allow us to kind of work out some of the kinks, especially in our thought process, and begin to realign a lot of our true values. And when we begin to realign a lot of our true values, that's when things will start to manifest. Even though things are going to slow down, it's going to give us an opportunity to really kind of get things in order, you know? But it's going to be intense. It's going to be a fun ride, though. It's going to be exciting, and we are going to learn a lot. And, you know, my position here, it's Astro Fenixx, as someone who studies astrology, someone who looks at these transits daily, I look at charts daily, like, and it's like, I'm a student of this craft, you know, and it's taken me a while to get to my current understanding of it. And of course, I want to expand my understanding of this, my understanding of astrology and the stars and all these different things, right? Of course, I also want to branch out. You know, I'm getting more into numerology. I'm really big into numerology. I don't talk about it as much in this channel, but numerology, and of course, I have the poetry, and I channel a lot of the stuff through my poetry and my art, my painting. So there's a lot of different things. It's not just astrology, and I'm also going to be bringing video game content to the channel, even though I'm going to loosely connect it to astrology, very, very, very loosely. It's going to be mostly on a fun thing, but yeah, it's going to be powerful. And you don't want to waste this opportunity, because opportunities like this, they come around, but they really don't come around in the same fashion, because yes, Neptune has been in Pisces before. Yes, Mercury has retrograded in Pisces before. And in fact, I think it'll retrograde in Pisces next year as well. So it's not like we haven't gotten these before, but you also have to consider the fact that the North Node will be in different spots, other planets will be in different spots, things change. So it's like astrology, like a lot of times people are like, oh, well, the sun's been in Aries before. Oh, the sun's been in Taurus before. Nothing has changed. It's not true. The other planets have changed. It's more like a cycle that goes up like this. You know what I mean? It's more like a cycle. It's not just a static circle. You know, there are layers to this shit, man. It's like baking a cake. There are layers to this shit. Or in Spells Inc.'s case, cupcakes. Let's see what's going on in the live chat though, real quick, just to see. Government of UK is currently live debating 8 different Brexit deals. Prime Minister is offering to resign to get her deal through. Will the UK be kicked out of the EU in 2 days? Oh my gosh, that'd be crazy. South Node and Capricorn. EU passed on a hyperlink and copyright law that destroyed the internet. You can connect anything to astrology. I definitely believe that. Yep, it's pancake time. Yes, this is pancake time. It's like, you ever seen like that giant stack of pancakes in like the children's books, and you have the person there with the bib and the fork and the knife, and they're just looking at it. And honestly, it's like most of us probably can't even eat more than 3 pancakes, depending upon how big they are. You know, a lot of people think that when the sun comes back around and it hits their birthday, that they're just getting the same pancake. Especially once you get into your older years, like, you know, after a certain age, apparently it's like, oh, nothing's changed. I'm like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? You've had a Saturn return coming up on your Chiron return. You're getting your second Saturn return. You've gotten like your third or fourth Jupiter return. Things are different. Things have shifted. Things have changed. Even planets that move very slowly, we got to look at that stuff too. A lot of times people are like, oh, well, Neptune's been in Pisces for a while. It'll still be here for another 5 years. The energy is going to be the same. No, it ain't. It moved degrees. Those degrees are very important. Those degrees are very important. 5 degrees of Pisces is a lot different than 25 degrees of Pisces. Yes, they still have that 5 energy, that kind of rebellious, freedom-like energy, but there's a 2 in front of that 5. And there's 20 spaces in between, well, technically 19 spaces in between that 5 and that 25. They're still, yeah, within the same scope, but they still carry different vibrations. This is what separates. That's why, like, a lot of times, like, this is what separates, like, say you have someone, say you have 2 people who their birthday allows them to both be Aries, right? But you have Aries that would be born towards the beginning, maybe like a 5, 6, 7 degree Aries, and then you'll look at someone born maybe a couple weeks later, and their sun is in like the 20-degree range of Aries. And like, what people get tripped up on is that they'll read what Aries is, and they'll be like, "Ah, that's not me." Perhaps the person who has their sun in like the first 15 degrees of Aries more or less resonates with it, especially in between 10, 15, or 10 to 20 degrees. They may resonate more with the Aries vibe. But then you may have someone who's an Aries sun at 28 degrees, and they don't really feel like an Aries. They probably feel more like a Taurus, right? And they'll read their horoscope in the newspaper and be like, that's not me. And I'm sitting here like, have you looked at the degree of your sun? Have you looked at your moon? Your moon could be opposite your sun. Your moon can be squaring your sun. You could have a Cancer moon or a Capricorn moon, right? Or your rising. Look at these things. You can be a sun in Aries, and then your Mars will be in Cancer. So it's like your ruling planet is in a sign that it doesn't want to be in. So it's like, you can be like Aries, like, oh, you go for it, the initiation energy, you're a warrior, you act on impulse, but then your Mars in Cancer is like, well, let me consider my feelings before I act. Not that a Mars in any other placement doesn't, but Mars in Cancer be more like, let me consider my feelings before I act. And you'll read that and be like, wait, this doesn't really feel like me, because I'm not just going to jump right into something. Yeah, because your Mars is in fucking Cancer. And this is the stuff that people need to know about. Oh my gosh. Like, this is the stuff that people need to know about. Astrology is the syrup that making pancakes more edible. True, unless you know how to actually like make that batter really good. What I like to do is I like to put like cinnamon in my batter, so it's like already kind of sweet and stuff like that. But yes, that's definitely true. I want to talk about, I'm going to mention a couple of planets during this. So we're going to highlight Chiron, we're going to highlight Uranus, we're going to highlight Mercury, we're going to highlight Neptune, we're going to highlight Jupiter. I'll probably talk about all the planets, but those are some of the main ones I want to focus on. And particularly like Mercury's kind of dance, over time. It's dance over Chiron, it's dance over Uranus. And then we're going to get to this whole Jupiter aspect to Neptune. And the end of my rabbit hole when I was studying this morning, that's where I kind of left off at. And I was like, wow, this makes sense. This makes so much sense what's happening. Then, of course, I looked up the astrology and I was like, ooh, because Planet Watcher doesn't show everything, right? So I was looking up particular asteroids and stuff like that. They're named after these gods and goddesses, right? And then of course you look at the stories, and then you look at where these asteroids are, and you're like, wow. You just have to clap. You just have to just like say thank you, because the universe, like the way that this is presented to us, it's so amazing and so beautiful, and it's great to be a part of. It's great to be able to dissect it and to kind of know what's going on too. That's the thing about astrology. I feel like we kind of know what's going on, like, but we still get thrown for a loop. That's the great thing about it, because it keeps you humble. Astrology has kept me so humble. It really has, because at the moment where I think I can utilize a transit to my advantage, and I can, there's always something to check my ass. There's always something to be like, well, what about this? And that's the beautiful thing about it. I feel like the checks and balances within astrology are a lot better than the checks and balances in a lot of these other faiths and religions and stuff. I'm sorry to say. And like, I'm not sorry to say, actually. I'm just going to say it. Like, it's better, because like the checks and balances in some of these other religions and faiths, not that they are inherently bad walks of life. They aren't. But it's like they are more easily manipulated. It's easier to manipulate Christianity. I can't manipulate the stars. I can't be like, hey, Jupiter, can you move 5 degrees today so you conjunct my whatever? I can't do that. But I can manipulate Christianity to a degree, to a higher degree than some of these other religious texts and stuff like that. It's more easily manipulative. I can't be like, you know what? I don't really want the moon to be in Leo today. I don't know why you wouldn't. I don't really want the moon to be in Leo today. I want the moon to be in Libra instead. Sorry, bro. You got to wait a few days. Astrology keeps you humble. Astrology keeps you humble. If there's anything that you get out of this video, this live today, is that astrology keeps you humble. And you can't just manipulate the planets. They are where they are, and you have to learn how to embrace where they are. That's why, like, you can look at your chart, your personal chart, and you can be like, oh, this is positive. Some things are usually more positive. Some things are usually more negative. But then you just learn to embrace all aspects. Like for me, I have Mercury in Sagittarius. Mercury doesn't like to be in Sagittarius. So when it comes to the mind and communication, I usually like to communicate very broad topics, but sometimes it's hard for me to kind of hone that in and bring it in and kind of deliver it in a nice little package, which is kind of funny, because when I think of Sagittarius, I think of Santa, but he delivers packages. But it's like, in true Christmas, in a true sense of Christmas, you would only get one gift. You wouldn't get like 20 gifts, by the way. That's just my personal belief. If Christmas was celebrated the way it was meant to, you would only get one gift. But that's just what I think. That's why I love the planets. It's literally a calendar of divine timing. It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. So we're going to get into this. One dive deep. I have several dates that I have written down that we're going to take a look at, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun. So let me get over here and share my screen. Okay. All right, so these are the transits as they are right now. The moon is officially in Capricorn. As soon as the moon came into Capricorn, oh man, sextiled over to Venus, squared Chiron, will square the sun later on this evening or morning, wherever you are, or afternoon. Also trined Uranus as soon as it came into Capricorn. So, of course, what is the moon in Capricorn? If you want to kind of know about the moon in Capricorn, you should go check out my video on my page where I talked about this moon in Capricorn transit and how I am relating it to honing your skills. And it was even funny, before I even came in here, I was watching an episode of Pokemon, no less, from the X, Y, and Z anime. And one of the characters in the show at that point, his name is Clement. He is an inventor, and a lot of his inventions blow up. And it's kind of like a comic gag in the show where his inventions blow up at the same time his inventions come in clutch so many times. And even his one invention that pretty much never blows up actually blows up in this episode, because it essentially broke trying to save his sister. He was able to save his sister, but in the process of doing so, his invention broke. He had to fix it. When he fixed it, it blew up. But what was interesting in there was that there was a character, just a random character, just like a one-time character in the show, where that they met, and she was speaking to Clement's little sister, who was jealous of this girl because it seemed like this person showed interest in her older brother. Her older brother being Clement, he was the one that makes the inventions, and she spoke of, because Bonnie, essentially, that's his little sister. Bonnie was like, oh, his adventures always blow up. And she was like, yeah, but failure leads to success. That's what she was pretty much saying. She was looking on the bright side of everything. She's like, oh, that's okay. But, failure and failing multiple times yields success if you keep going at it. And that's pretty much how I feel about this moon in Capricorn, is that, and it might not necessarily be failure, but you can feel like you might have failed at something, or maybe something might not be coming through the way that you want it to. But if you keep at it and you continue to hone your craft and hone your skills, you will make it. You will make it. Now, what I want to talk about, I want to go back to the Chiron retrograde that happened last year on July 5th, 2018. So we're going to take this back, take this forward. Actually, I can just do this. This will be easier. Let's see. Let's take it back a little bit more. Let's see if this on the side here changes. Okay, bam. That helps me out. All right. So this was when Chiron went retrograde last year, July 5th, 2018. This is 12:47 Eastern Standard Time. As you can see, the planets are definitely in different positions for the most part. Saturn had just entered into Capricorn. It was retrograding at this point, and it actually would come back to 2 degrees of Capricorn, which is interesting because that 2 degrees of Capricorn is actually squaring where Chiron retrograded at. It also trined where Uranus retrograded at. Chiron retrograded at 2 degrees of Aries, and Uranus retrograded at 2 degrees of Taurus. So when Saturn was in its retrograde phase and came back, it stopped stationed direct at 2 degrees. So you get the trine, you get the square. Now, some people may be like, how is that relevant? You have to understand that since this is a pancake, I'm going to think of it as a pancake, right? And how you can have a transit that happened on a pancake that's like on the top of the cake, and how it can relate to something that happened like in the middle of that pancake stack. Let's just say there's 5, and you're going from the top pancake to like the second to bottom pancake, and you drove like a stick through it. Or how like you drive like a stick through a burger, like how sometimes you'll go to a restaurant and they put the stick in the burger and it kind of holds it together. That's kind of what this is like. It's almost like every year another record is being placed on top of the record player that's already going, and surprisingly all the music is playing together and it sounds symphonic, but it's playing like multiple records at the same time. So that's kind of what this is like. It's like you can drive a stake through this wheel, and it's like Saturn will, at this point, when it comes back to 2 degrees, trine the retrograde spot of Uranus and square the retrograde spot of Aries. Now, what else is interesting about this chart is the fact that the moon had just entered into Aries on this date. Now, some people might be like, oh, how is that applicable? Well, we just had a full moon in Libra at 0 degrees. So the moon is actually opposing that spot. The moon is actually opposing that spot. Yes, the sun's here at 13 degrees, and look, it's also making a trine over to Jupiter. You see how that works? The day that that Chiron decides to go retrograde is the day that the sun and Jupiter are actually trining each other. There's no coincidence there. Oh, and look at this. We have an opposition between Mars, the planet of action, which right now is in Taurus, and Mercury, which is the planet of communication, which is in Leo, 8 degrees. And Mercury is over here in this. Mercury is over here in this spectrum. Mercury is actually where Neptune is, 16 degrees. So this is significant, and you'll see more of the significance as I bring up more charts. Now we're going to speed ahead to when Uranus goes retrograde. So we're going to go forward a month and a couple of days. I'm going to refresh this here, and we're going to look at the Uranus retrograde. Oh my goodness, now what happened? Well, look at this. Saturn is still coming back and still hasn't quite hit that 2-degree mark. Not quite, not quite. But look who's at 0 degrees of Libra. Venus! And Venus just came into Pisces. So Venus is where we just had that full moon. This full moon, which came in the midst of a Mercury retrograde on top of Neptune, coming on top of Neptune, with all these freaking crazy energies, with Chiron recently coming back into Aries, with Uranus recently coming back into Taurus, in the midst of all of this stuff. That's where it is, right on top of that 0-degree mark. That's not a coincidence, guys. It's not a coincidence. The stuff all lines up. It really does. What's even cooler about this is that the sun at 15 degrees is actually going to be trining the new moon that's going to be in Aries at 15 degrees. So the moon being a Gemini, I mean, I guess we can talk about that, 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 energy, 5 energy, 5 energy, 1 plus 4, 5 energy. There's also going to be a 5 energy over here in in Aquarius with the South Node. And what does 5 mean in numerology? Well, 5 is sort of a completion, because when you look at the hand, or at least the human hand, it has 5 fingers. If you look at, we have 5 fingers, we have 5 toes on each foot, so it's kind of a completion point. It also in many ways rules freedom in a sense. It does rule this sort of freedom of expressing. But 5 also is the number of Mercury in numerology. And how ironic, of course, that we have this Mercury at 17 degrees of Leo, making a quincunx over to this energy over here in Pisces. And it's actually quincunxing where Neptune is currently, because Neptune right now is at 17 degrees of Pisces. Just saying. Now let's move this forward again, and I'm going to go back in time as well, because I want to show you guys that. But let's go more to present day, and let's just go to tomorrow, because that's really, this is Mercury direct, the Mercury direct that we're getting. All right. So we have Mercury direct on top of Neptune, 16 degrees, 16 degrees. Venus is now at 2 degrees. The moon's going to be in Capricorn. And oh, look, so we got that 23 energy again. Interesting, that 2, 3. 5 keeps coming up. I wonder why. And Chiron is getting close to coming out of its shadow zone. Mars here at the edge of Taurus, getting ready to come out. Really wanting to explore, really wanting to push things forward. It's really ready to go. Mars is ready to go. It's ready to get into Gemini and just talk about all the crazy, dirty secrets that everyone's had. Blah, 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 blah. She said what? He said what? 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 Let's go to April 10th. This is going to be the day of the Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter retrograde is going to be at 24 degrees of Sagittarius. Now, this day is pretty significant. Why? Look where the moon is. Oh man, is the moon making an opposition over to Jupiter? Yes, it is. The moon is making an opposition over to Jupiter. Not only that, but it's quincunxing all of this energy in Capricorn. Pluto, the south node, which is now in between Pluto and Saturn, by the way, that's already intense in and of itself. And yeah, I guess we do have Mercury sextiling this energy, which is kind of nice at 22 degrees. The only issue with that is the fact that Mercury is still in shadow. Mercury is still in Pisces. You gotta understand, Mercury in Pisces, the way I want to describe it is it really is like it's someone, I don't even want to say going to another country and trying to speak the language. It's literally like you being plopped on another planet and trying to understand the language of the people on that planet, where they can be communicating in ways and talking about stuff that just doesn't seem like it makes sense to you. But that's what's going on here. Even though this is a harmonious aspect, even though the Mercury, yeah, will be trining over to the North Node in Cancer, especially if you're not healthily processing your emotions, like this is going to be tough, because now Jupiter is going behind. Now Jupiter is going retrograde, and Jupiter is arguably the jolliest of the planets. Arguably the jolliest. In a few days after this, this Mercury is going to square this Jupiter, and Mercury is going to be like, after making this aspect over here, it's going to try and talk to Jupiter and be like, yo, and yeah, think about this. This is Hermes and Zeus, so they're like really close pals, right? So they're like, Hermes is going to be like, yo, Zeus, what is going on, man? I'm trying to make sense of this. I'm in this weird space. Everything I say is getting misconstrued and flip-flopped and inverted and turned upside down. I just spoke to Saturn, and Saturn's like, yo, I'm busy doing this. I just spoke to Pluto, and Pluto's like, yo, I'm busy. Actually, Pluto didn't even give Mercury a response. Pluto just kind of looked at him like he was stupid. Pluto was just like, you're actually talking to me right now? Like, and Mercury's going to be wanting some answers. And Jupiter's not going to give Mercury the answer that it wants. Jupiter's just going to be like, yo, Santa, don't you know that Christmas is like, I mean, although Christmas is not right around the corner, but it's going to be like, yo, Santa, like, because Santa works in the off season. Don't get it twisted, but Santa's going to be on break, yo. He's going to the Caribbean, right? He's not going to be up at the North Pole. He may even give some of the elves, like, he's going to give the elves like paid time off. Like, the elves are going to be like, wait, so we don't have to prepare for Christmas already? Like, we can actually rest for a while in between? And Santa's going to be like, yeah, go ahead, guys, do your thing. And so where are you going to be? I'm like, I want to be sipping Mai Tais. I'm going to be having a Long Island somewhere in the Caribbean. I'm going to go to the Pacific and just chill the fuck out. Me and Mrs. Claus, we have some weird issues that we got to work through, and we're going to just work those issues out. She's been wanting a vacation. She's been moaning and bitching to me about never taking her on a nice vacation. I got to do this thing. So that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Oh, this is all the while the sun is squaring this energy as well. So people are going to be taking actions in around this day that are going to be definitely kind of bizarre and out there. We have 2 + 2 is 4. We have 2 + 2 is 4. We have 4 energy here with the moon, 4 energy here with Jupiter. And of course, you have the south node over here. So people are going to be taking actions that are definitely bizarre and out there. And some of it will be sort of this last-ditch effort to try and control their lives, when this is not a moment in time that we really need to try and control. I know Saturn's in Capricorn. But Pluto is there and the south node is there. This is not really a time where you want to try and control every aspect of your life. This is a time where you really want to be able to be like, you know what? This is what I can control. I can wake up in the morning. I can say, thank you for the beautiful day. I can look in the mirror. I can smile. I can, maybe I decide to eat an apple instead of eat, a muffin. or a Pop-Tart. Little things like that, but not trying to completely overhaul your life and be like, you know what, if it doesn't look this way, then fuck everything, fuck everyone. I want my way now. Don't get it twisted. The sun in Aries, even though the sun is exalted here, when the sun in Aries does not get their way, they're like a little kid running, like throwing a major temper tantrum. And that moon in Gemini is not really going to help because it's going to, people are going to, and here's the weird thing. There are some people that are going to make some sort of dramatic shift on this day that seems very out there and maybe even out of character. But then it'll be like, they may come back a week later and be like, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. You know, they probably didn't know that the moon was in Gemini, so they can be a little two-faced right now. No offense to my Geminis out there. You guys are really multi-faced, but y'all have to. You guys are the mirrors, and we all have that energy in us. You know, not only that, but of course, the ruler Gemini is here in Pisces. There are going to be some people that, like, I'm not going to lie, this is cheating energy. So some of you, like those of you who are in relationships, this is kind of the energy where someone may cheat, you know, but then they'll realize that it was probably one of the biggest mistakes, and what they were looking for in the relationship was just a little bit of that closeness that's not necessarily just sexual. You gotta understand that it's not necessarily just sexual, you know. When it comes to sex too, I know a lot of people are talking about sex in the media. Pluto is in Capricorn, so you have to understand a lot of what we're seeing about sex right now is not necessarily about the closeness. It's not necessarily about really the intimacy. It's about power right now. And with the sun squaring this spot, and yeah, Venus in Pisces kind of brings a bit of a magical element to it. Sure, yeah. You know, this is definitely some one night stand energy. This is also some, you know, cheating on your spouse or your partner energy with someone that you think is kind of nice, or you think is cool, you think it might give you some fire, you think it might give you something, and it doesn't really pan out the way that you want to. Jupiter's not going forward anymore, it's going backwards. So this isn't really about expansion. This is a little bit more of that contraction energy. So some people are going to try and just reach out and expand just a little bit more, and it's not really going to go where they want. They're going to fizzle out. I'm not saying to not try and start projects or to go for things at this point. I'm just saying when it comes to like these really drastic life decisions and changes, you want to see people around this date kind of wanting to do that, but it's not going to necessarily yield them what they want. Unless they are really authentic and are really living from their heart space, then I would say go for it. But I would argue that probably 90 to 95% of us, even those of us who practice authenticity, shouldn't really make huge decisions around this time, because there is a potential for us to just be trying to look for a quick fix. April 10th, I'm sorry to say, is quick fix energy, and is not necessarily going to give you the sustenance that you're wanting, not necessarily. Now let's go a week ahead to the 17th, right? And this is going to be the day that Mercury enters into Aries. Now, this is really significant as well. This is really significant as well. Why is this significant? Well, let's drill down. Mercury is now in Aries. Wow, look at this. Chiron is now at 3 degrees of Aries. We haven't had this energy in what, 40 to 50 years or so, somewhere in that time frame. So we haven't had this energy for a while. And you got to think 40 to 50 years ago, that's going to be like what? That's the 1980ish, 70s, I guess. I didn't actually write that date down. I guess we can go back and look at it if we want to. But Chiron's now out of shadow, which means that now we are experiencing this new energy when it relates to Chiron in Aries. Chiron being, of course, you know, just the basic moniker, the wounded healer, right? The wounded healer. But in being an Aries, this is also speaking to, there's going to be a lot of childhood wounds that come up during this time. There's going to be a lot of wounds where people are going to be looking at things they kind of did in their past, or things they wanted to do as a child that maybe they feel like they can't necessarily do now because they're an adult and they're told, oh, you can't do that, you know? Here's the other cool thing. Mercury's also going to be out of shadow because Mercury retrograded at 29 degrees Pisces. So Mercury's going to be out of shadow. Chiron's going to be out of shadow. And this is earlier in the day. So, I mean, yeah, Mercury will meet up with Chiron, you know, in a couple of days afterwards. But guess what? When Mercury and Chiron meet up, look who's at 29 degrees of Pisces. Venus. Venus will be here. And the moon will be coming off of the full moon in Libra. We're going to get a second full moon in Libra at 29 degrees. And Uranus is getting ever so closely to coming out of shadow. Ever so closely. It was like 2 degrees in like 30-something solar minutes, right? This is an energy that we haven't had in a while. This is an energy that we haven't had in a while. And because of all of this energy around this sort of alpha and omega spot, and now any two signs are back to back can be seen as an alpha and omega. So say in your chart you are a Libra rising in a Virgo 12th house. Libra is kind of like your alpha, Virgo is like your omega. But as far as like the general chart, we have this focus here on this alpha and omega energy, right? We do kind of have it here too with the Sun and Uranus, but there's definitely more of a focus here with Neptune being in its home sign, of course, Venus being exalted in Pisces, Mercury, it's not bad in Aries. It'd rather be in Libra because it's an air sign and at least it can kind of like cooperate. And Chiron in Aries, this is sort of like this energy where if people try and clap back at you or people try and throw shade at you, or if someone says something that kind of bruises your ego, based off of how you have processed your wounds up until that point is going to determine your action. So some people, especially with that 3 energy, they're going to express their wounds and wear them on their sleeve. And they're not, and because they haven't gone through the proper shadow work, they're going to just be like, okay, you're taking shots, you're taking shots, you're taking shots, everybody's taking shots because I'm hurt and I don't want to take the responsibility to heal myself. It's the world's responsibility to heal me. That's a tough pill to swallow when you realize that's up to you. Tough ass pill to swallow. Let's go to May 3rd, okay? Let's go to May 3rd. May 3rd is pretty significant. Now Chiron's moved to 4 degrees. And we have 23. So Jupiter is really actually starting to move backwards now. Now, May 3rd is important. Why? You see this? The moon's going to be shifting. Oh, hold on. I went day instead of hour. So as this day progresses, the moon is going to shift into Taurus. And then coming into, yeah, right there. Pretty close. Oh no, not oh no, oh yes. But the moon and Uranus will meet up at 3 degrees. And Uranus has not been at 3 degrees with the moon conjuncting it at this point for somewhere between 70 to 80 years. That's a long fucking time. Okay? That's a long time. Look how much 3 energy we have. 3. We have a 13, so we have a 3 here. We have 23, so we have a 3 here. We have 23, so we have a 3 here. There's a huge focus on this 3 energy. And when we look at 3 energy, that's Jupiter. And Jupiter is retrograde in Sagittarius. So a lot of times people are going to be thinking like, oh, what do I believe? They're going to look at Jupiter, and Jupiter's going to be like, I don't know. What do you believe? And it's going to be like, well, give me something to believe in, Jupiter. And Jupiter's going to be like, I gave you something to believe for. I gave you many gifts to believe in that would show you how amazing you are, how qualified you are. I don't necessarily need to give you anything right now. Jupiter's not, and it's not that Jupiter doesn't want to give. Jupiter's on chill mode. He's relaxing, right? It's okay. People are going to be wanting gifts and be like, yo, where's Santa at? Yo, he is on break. He is on holiday. He is on holiday, all right? He's on holiday. So this is about going within yourself and believing in yourself. And what's even more amazing about this is that now Neptune's at 18 degrees of Pisces, and we haven't seen that energy in a while. We'll come back and talk about that in a moment. But Venus is going to be where this new moon happened. The new moon will be at 15 degrees of Aries. It's going to be at 16 degrees, which means that in many ways, in that aspect, as far as how we truly value ourselves, because you got to think Venus, in many ways, rules value, and Aries is the self. So how we truly value ourselves from that new moon spot, that 15-degree spot of Aries, it's like we're going to be taking a step forward based off of how we value ourselves. Do we believe that we have all of the tools necessary already at this moment? I don't care how much money you have in the bank. I don't care how many cars you drive. I don't care how many degrees you have. I don't care how much you think you have of something or how much you don't think you have of something. You have what it takes to take the next step forward. And Venus is really huge on that. You see how the Alpha and Omega switched from Aries and Pisces to now is Taurus and Aries. That's incredible. I'll be back, guys. I will be right back. Give me 1 second. I have another funny analogy actually when it comes to that Jupiterian energy. And the funny thing is that now it's at 23 degrees. Jupiter is really on vacation. Like Jupiter got on the plane, is now in the islands, chilling. You might not be on the islands. You might be on another planet. Shit. But this other energy, as far as like you already have everything that you need right now, and Venus is really going to show this, is some kid of very, very, very rich parents, right? Like some sort of like trust fund baby, right? And they ask their parents for, hey, can I have $100,000 to do this thing that I'm trying to do? Or maybe like a business or some sort of adventure or some type of venture, some type of business venture. And for the first time in like maybe their life, their dad, their mom looks at them and be like, what happened to the last $100,000 I gave you last year? Didn't I give you money last year? And then they'll be like, yeah, I mean, I used it all, but that's okay. You guys got me covered, right? And they just laugh and be like, son, daughter, you have everything that you need. We're not going to write you a check for $100,000. You have everything that you need. Especially in this, and I'm even seeing in this type of similarity, or what I'm just kind of trying to paint here, is that the kid may be too caught up on the physical manifestation of money and the $100,000 itself, when there's also the alliances that his parents have, or even he has developed through his parents, or on his own, or on her own. The people that they have met, the experiences that they have had. So this isn't just about, trying to ask Jupiter for $100,000 so you can start a business or you can start some sort of business venture or whatever like that. Jupiter's going to be like, what about that thing I gave you last year? What about that thing I gave you 6 months ago? What happened to that? And it's going to be like, damn, you don't really appreciate what I give you. No, it's time for you to learn the lesson and realize that, hey, I gave you everything that you need. I gave you everything that you need. Especially, I'm going to say this, I'm guilty of this too. I'm guilty of this, but especially if you're watching this and you have internet connection, you automatically have it better than most of the people in the world. Because yeah, there's a lot of confusion on the internet, but damn it, you have much more opportunity, at least when it comes to make it in this kind of society, than most of the people in this world. So it's like, what are you complaining for? And it's not, that's not to say that you can't have days like, it's not like you're supposed to be like super go lucky, happy, jolly every single day just because you have internet and you have clothes and all this sort of stuff. But this comes to a deeper appreciation. You got to understand, Venus also rules appreciation. So it's like, do you appreciate yourself? Do you really appreciate yourself? Are you willing to take the next step in showing your appreciation for yourself? Don't go to God, Goddess, universe. Don't go to any of the planets on this day asking for money. Don't go to them asking for $100,000. You may get $100,000, you know, who knows? But don't go to them asking for something when they gave it to you 6 months previous or a year previous or 5 years previous, and you immaturely squandered it away. And more than likely, because since Mercury's involved here, Mercury's at 25 degrees, so it's in between all of this energy. It's not like Mercury, it's not like you're not like, as far as like your mind, it's not like you're ignorant to what you've done. You know, the mind knows it's at these higher degrees. Not only that, but it's 25. 2 plus 5 is 7, and 7 is the number of spirit. So even our mind is connected to spirit, but within the scope of Aries energy. So this is even more ways of you connecting to your spiritual guides, connecting to your higher spiritual self on this day, the day that the moon conjuncts Uranus at 3 degrees for the first time in 70 to 80 plus years, with Venus 1 degree away from the new moon in Aries that we will have in less than a week or so. Let's go ahead, shall we? I hope you all are enjoying this. I know that sometimes when I'm explaining this stuff, I can get pretty excited, as I should, and might not. I'm trying to do my best to explain it and to give you guys some metaphors and some ways of looking at it and stuff. But I hope that this is helping. I hope that it's kind of helping you to see just how powerful these next few months are. And even though things may seem like they move slow, you can actually get a lot done in these next few months. You really can. You really can. Now let's move forward to June 21st. June 21st, 2019. Interesting enough is the day of the solstice. Interesting enough is the day of the solstice. Let's see. This is actually going to be the day. And we'll do this. This is actually going to be the day that, wow, on the day of the solstice, we have Neptune going retrograde at 18 degrees of Pisces. Literally 29 degrees, 57 solar minutes. That's where the sun is. It will, let's just play with numbers real quick. Wow, that was definitely Neptunian. Let's just play with some numbers real quick. 10:45. Okay, it might take a little bit longer for it to get there, but let's just 10:55. I want to see just how close I can get this. Let's see. Because it's really not that much apart from each other to when the solstice actually happens. But I guess, you know, we could just do this, right? If I click that. So 11:53. So yeah, 10:37 a.m. and not even an hour and a half later, we get the solstice, 11:53 a.m. Not even an hour later. But let's go back to that Neptune retrograde. It's going to be trining all this energy here. It's going to be square. Venus will be coming into the square of this energy. But oh, look at this. The moon's going to be in Aquarius, semi-sextiling this spot. Now Chiron and Uranus are at 5 degrees, so they're like really moving. Actually at this point they're kind of slowing down because I believe that these are actually the degrees that they will retrograde at. But still, at 5 degrees, that's pretty freaking critical. That's pretty freaking critical. But look, it's squaring Jupiter, it's sextiling Saturn, it's semi-sextiling the moon. Look at all this. Once again, we have a lot of 8 energy. We also have some 9 energy. 1 plus 8 is 9. 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 And then we have the 9 right here as well. And of course, we have the nodes, which carry that 8 energy plus 1 plus 7 equals 8. So there's definitely going to be some type of decision, and there's going to be some sort of action that happens on this day. And this is really going to exemplify your belief in yourself, your belief that you can do it regardless of what you have. And there are people out there that will tell you that you don't have anything because you don't have what I have. People will be like, oh, I have $1 billion. You don't have anything because you only have $50,000. But that person with $1 billion might not be able to walk up a flight of stairs without feeling winded. You know, that person with $1 billion probably has shitty relationships with their parents or their kids. Potentially, not all billionaires. So I'm not trying to paint that kind of a picture, but it could be like that. You may have one of the best relationships with your kids, and your kid, yeah, they may not make like all kinds of crazy money like the billionaire's kid would have like that, but they make you proud, Maybe they work for a nonprofit and they actually help people. Not saying that billionaires can't, but maybe they actually directly help people, This is some intense stuff. Now, like I said, this is that moment where this is, the Neptune's going to be at 18 degrees. And we can take this back. I want to get to the point where it hits 18 exactly. Let's see. So I want to show you guys this date, which I think I did bring it up earlier. Actually, what's interesting about this is that the moon is going to come on top of Neptune while it's at 18 degrees. See, 18 degrees, 0 solar minute. Neptune didn't make it to the spot last year. Didn't make it this far. So move this forward and you're going to see that moon conjunct at 18 degrees. Oh, look where Mercury is. It's at 18 degrees. Ah, that's a nice little harmonic right there, right? The last time that Neptune went to 18 degrees of Pisces was May 24th of 1855. That was the last time that this happened. Let's go ahead and bring that up, shall we? Because why not? Because we're having some fun here. Let's move this head about an hour, and there you go. May 24th, 1855, 7:37 a.m. Neptune's at 18 degrees of Pisces. And of course, things do look kind of different. Pluto at 3 degrees is where Uranus would have been. And yeah, of course, we have Chiron over here in Capricorn. So things definitely look different. Jupiter's in Pisces right at the beginning. What's interesting, though, about this is that the moon is actually going to oppose Neptune on this day. So that's pretty interesting. But this was the last time that we got this energy, 1855. Now, where were you in 1855? More than likely, at least in this incarnation, you weren't here. You might have actually been on Earth in 1855. Who knows? But what's interesting as well is that Saturn is squaring this energy. Ooh, Saturn squaring this energy. And the sun is squaring Jupiter. So this is huge. And the reason, and I'm going to read 18 degrees of Pisces for you all in my book. I'm going to read a couple of degrees, but we can look to see, what happened in 1855, right? So let's look at what happened in 1855. Let's see if we can find more historical events. That just said highlights. All right, so let's see. So this was a ship that disappeared. This was on the 9th. There are some other things that definitely happened, but let's go to around May, June. Okay, so this is interesting. Adventurer William Walker conquers Nicaragua and reestablishes slavery. That's pretty fucking intense. And of course, we do have this Gemini energy. We have Saturn in Gemini. We have Mercury here. So Saturn, in many ways, can kind of rule this sort of power and this establishment. And Gemini, in many ways, I think of it as people, And since Saturn is ahead of it, and it's also squaring Neptune, in many ways, you can think of Pisces as like it's ultimate freedom, but it's also ultimate bondage. So the fact that this square is happening, it doesn't really surprise me. It doesn't really surprise me. And yes, you could say that, this conquering of a foreign land kind of gives a bit of this Geminian, maybe even Aquarian vibe, so to speak. Uranus was in Taurus at this point, so it was actually at 17 degrees, so it's actually sextiling this energy. And of course, slavery is fucked up, obviously, trying like forcing other people to, into that type of work and just keeping them in bonds and chains and all that sort of shit is pretty fucked up. And interesting enough, how the ruler of Saturn's ruler Capricorn, Chiron was in there, 28 degrees, retrograde. So it's like, even though this is talking about a reestablishment, there's still, I think that these events and stuff like that, they're obviously are fucked up, but I also kind of just feel that anyone who feels the need to try and conquer someone and put them in chains is really afraid of themselves, and they are really afraid of what other people could do to them. So they feel the need to chain up other people because they have insecurity. So the only way for them to feel secure is to bond up everyone else. So, but anyways, that's just kind of where I was going with that. The Portland rum riot happens in Portland, Maine, so people are tripping out about their drinks. Let's see. There's a bombing in Crimea. 2,000 plus are killed. That's fucked up. That's crazy. This is all Neptune at 18 degrees. This was back then, of course, but let's see what else we got. Let's see. Oh yeah, so Walt Whitman, which you may have studied him in your English classes. He's pretty popular. He published his book of poems, Leaves of Grass, around this time. And he's, of course, like I said, a pretty big figure in literature. We have a railway that opens up. Let's see what else we have. We have the hottest July in Stockholm, which was 21 degrees Celsius, and this was the first time since 1756. So that's pretty interesting. Anything that has to do with weather and stuff like that. And of course, you can see that Uranus being here in Taurus, this definitely can make for some trippy ass weather, especially with Pluto here, and especially with Mars here too. That can definitely make for some trippy ass weather. With it sextiling over to Neptune, yeah, you best believe that can make for some very trippy ass weather. Let's see, what else do we have in this year? Here's another interesting thing. American inventor Isaac Singer patents sewing machine motor. And that's pretty, people probably knew already how to sew but at that point, but then this is talking about taking that innovation and doing something more with it. And, and actually it's a patent. So the motor was already invented, but now this was about getting like the qualifications, getting the necessary documents and all that stuff for it. And we can even look at this. Uranus and Taurus. Uranus in many ways rules inventions. Taurus is like sort of like this physical manifestation of such. Even the North Node in here in Taurus conjunct Uranus during all this, even though it's a 5-degree orb, even promotes this invention-like aspect. And it was kind of funny how earlier in this video I was talking about in Pokemon how there's a character who invents stuff and it blows up, but he keeps going at it. And, you know, Saturn being in Gemini mean that, you know, you have to find the right people to kind of get things going and to get these things off the ground. Let's see. Bessemer's still making process was patented, so you have a lot of patents going on. This is a huge one. This France Liszt's Prometheus premieres. Now, this was interesting because this is he composed this in 1850 as well, but he did a revision, and then this is when it premiered, was in October 18th of 1855. And this is huge because, you know, probably heard about Prometheus and maybe you watched the movie and stuff like that. But if you know anything about the story of Prometheus, which I actually will look that up because I was really interested in that. And then on my birthday of that year, we have the first European to see Victoria Falls in what is now Zambia and Zimbabwe, which he's an explorer and stuff like that. Guess he was exploring Africa and he saw the beautiful waterfalls and became the first European to see it. I guess that's an event of interest. I don't really know why they would put that in there, but it happened on my birthday that year, so, you know, I always think that's kind of cool. But let's look at this whole Prometheus thing because that's where this gets even more interesting. I'm just going to connect all this. So, Prometheus, Greek mythology. I looked this up earlier. Let's see. Yes, I know I'm using Wikipedia. All right, so in Greek mythology, Prometheus is a Titan culture hero and trickster figure who is credited with the creation of man from clay and who defies the gods by stealing fire and giving it to humanity, an act that enabled progress and civilization. So we already saw how there were patents and stuff like that in that year that kind of would advance civilization and make things easier for us, right? Prometheus is known for his intelligence and as a champion of mankind, and also seen as the author of human arts and sciences generally. He is sometimes presented as the father of Deucalion, the hero of the Greek flood story, son of the flood story. The punishment of Prometheus as a consequence of theft is a major theme of his mythology and is a popular subject of both ancient and modern art. Zeus, also Jupiter, king of the Olympian gods, sentenced the Titan to eternal torment for his transgression. The immortal Prometheus was bound to a rock where each day an eagle, the emblem of Zeus, was sent to feed on his liver, which would then grow back overnight to be eaten again the next day. That is some intense ass shit. Now there are some things that believe that the liver was actually the heart. In ancient Greece, the liver was often thought to be the seat of human emotions. I think that's pretty interesting, though. And the liver, I mean, that's interesting. If you really think about the liver and stuff like that, and how and keeping a healthy liver, and you know, a lot of times what can you know, fuck that up is like, you know, just based off, you know, over drinking, general stuff like that, and you know, that could block you from really feeling your authentic emotions, stuff like that. So the fact that Zeus would send this eagle to eat his liver or his heart, and it would grow back and he will continue to eat it, that's kind of in many ways it can be symbolic of how, you know, we feel, how we can actually continue to punish ourselves for things that we have done, and we may do this punishment by actual actions that we take out, or we continually to make ourselves feel bad for things that have happened before. And it's not that we shouldn't pay for things that we have done, but at some point we do have to allow ourselves to heal. But a lot of times what happens is that people kind of hold on and harbor, and they don't realize that the moon, which rules emotions, moves very, very, very quickly. It moves around the zodiac once every 28 to 29 days. So we're not really meant to harbor on these things for too long. Not really. We're supposed to learn how to let things flow, all right? In ancient Greece, the liver was often thought to be the seat of human emotions. Prometheus is freed at last by the hero Heracles, also known as Hercules. In another myth, Prometheus establishes the form of animal sacrifice practiced in ancient Greek religion. Evidence to a cult to Prometheus himself is not widespread. He was a focus on religious activity, mainly at Athens. Linked to Athena. This is not giving me the part that I wanted to look at, because there was an interesting part where it talked about Pandora. And maybe I have to look at another. I have to look at, let's see, where was it? Where did I see that? Because it was very interesting. I don't know if it was this one. I really don't. But I'll bring it up. Yeah, I think this is it. Okay, yeah. So in Greek mythology, the Titan Prometheus had a reputation as being something of a clever trickster, and is famously gave the human race the gift of fire and the skill of metalwork, an action of which he was punished by Zeus, who ensured every day that an eagle ate the liver of the Titan as he was helplessly chained to a rock. Prometheus, meaning forethought, was one of the ringleaders of the battle between the Titans and the Olympian gods led by Zeus to gain control of the heavens, a struggle which is said to have lasted 10 years. Where's the thing about Pandora? Because that thing was really interesting. Essentially, what happened was that one of the results of Prometheus giving man fire was that Zeus created the god Pandora as a sort of like punishment for like, and probably is more or less just, when you think of Pandora, of course you think of Pandora's box. So it's like opening up this can of worms and you can't put the lid back on it. So sometimes we can kind of, you've had moments where your curiosity, you heard the word curiosity killed the cat. So sometimes like our over curiosity, and we let things out of the bag, and it's like sometimes our curiosity can get the better of us. I also like to think that Pandora can be a good thing too, because there are some boxes that are meant to be open. And I think what's happening here is that Zeus has given everyone, or gods, or Sansa, I guess people kind of relate them kind of to God, whatever like that. But Zeus, that kind of figure that gives the gifts, the Christmas, that jolly energy, we've all been given a gift that he wants us to open, and I think we're afraid to open it because we think that it's Pandora's box, and it is. But we think that if we open this box, that all hell is going to break loose. But that's not really what's going to happen. That's not really what's going to happen. But there are also going to be people that may be presented with this sort of Prometheus trickster-like energy, and they're going to be given another box to open. Or maybe they're going to be presented as like, oh, we'll take this, such and so gave me this to give to you, when that's not really actually the case. But then you open it up, and then like all hell does break loose. So it's like, do not get caught up on a lot of this sensational stuff. This happens a lot of times that people open up their fucking computer, or they open up their social media, and then they start to look at all of the bullshit that's been coming out of Pandora's box, getting caught up on these titles. He did this, she said that, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, they really allow these things to really dictate their vibration throughout the day. People like that, right? And it's probably happened to you, where you saw something on the internet about something that happened to someone else that you don't really know, you don't have any association with, and it fucks up your day. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be aware of things and tragedies, because when you hear about a school bombing in the Middle East and 30 kids died and the teacher, and it really could have been avoided and they're completely innocent, yeah, that in many ways should kind of fuck up your day a bit, at least give you some type of awareness. But if it's like such and so cheated on so and so, and now they're in court and we're going to plaster it all over the magazine, and that kind of shit that ruins people's lives, like, that shit is stupid. I'm sorry, like, it's just stupid. We've all done stupid shit, but why are you going to let other people's stupid shit dictate your vibration? Why would you do that? Now, I really want to find this. I think I know the way I found it the first time. I think what I did is that I actually typed in the dude that what's his name? Francis. Yeah, I think this is the way I did it, because then it actually mentions. Let's see. So here was the video that I clicked on, but then I wanted to know how I got to it the other time. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, he composed it in 1850, but he revised it in 1855. I want to show you guys this because I don't want to just, I don't want to be like, I'm not talking out of my ass, but I want to just make sure that you guys see what I'm talking about. I can't remember what link it was that I clicked on earlier. I don't think it was that one. I mean, I clicked on this, but that's the actual like video, and that's not what I'm looking for. But anyways, since I can't seem to find it, and I didn't for some reason write it down earlier, that's kind of how Pandora came. Pandora came into existence because of this whole thing. And if you really think about it, it kind of makes sense because Prometheus didn't really know necessarily what was going to happen when he gave human fire. And it did open up a can of worms. I mean, you can look at the world it is today, and a lot of good things came out of it, and a lot of bad things came out of it because created fire and we can cook our food, and we have cars and we have other great things, but we also have atomic bombs. So yeah, open up a whole can of worms. And what's interesting about all this whole Prometheus, Zeus, and Pandora thing is that we can come and look at this. X that out. This is a chart for April 29th, 2019. And this is actually the day that Neptune will be going at 18 degrees. It says 1759, but this is actually the day where Neptune will be ingressing to the 18th degree mark of Pisces in the 7th house. And what's interesting about this is that we have Pandora here chilling at 24 degrees of Aries. So this whole can of worms that we're opening up in many ways does have to deal with the self. And a lot of people can kind of pop off on this day or around this day and can really get caught up in some delusions if they're really not careful. That is definitely possible. And then, yes, you have Jupiter, which in many ways is Zeus, but there also is an asteroid Zeus that's going to be at 19 degrees. That's going to be at 19 degrees of Libra, making a nice little trine over here to Mars at 19 degrees of Gemini. 19 degrees of Libra, 19 degrees Gemini. And not only that, but it's going to be opposing this Mercury. When I think of Prometheus, I kind of getting Mercury vibes, just because Mercury can be a bit of a trickster. Mercury is very savvy. And the fact that Mercury is opposing Zeus is kind of like Mercury's kind of going against Zeus's orders in many ways, But Mercury is like heading towards Pandora. It's going to open up his box of worms. And when he opens up his box of worms, that's going to spill out into the world. There's a bunch of crazy stuff that can happen, There's a bunch of crazy stuff that's going to happen. Not only that, but it's getting closer to Uranus and Taurus, which is definitely about innovation, but it's also about grounding this innovation in actual technological advances actually materializing. And look, Zeus is going to be, squaring this Saturn South Node conjunction. Like, holy shit, guys. Like, what? Holy shit. This is some intense stuff. Look at all this Aries energy that we have. Yeah, we have some asteroids, but we do have Venus And Mercury here, we do have Chiron. We do have Vesta here as well. Vesta, commitment to work, using work as a compensation, dedication to accomplishment of goals, emotional distancing, hard work and career demands, impersonal sublimation of other interests into the career or vacation, sacrifice or denial of self by others or the self for the greater goal. So sometimes there can be some type of energy where people may try to deny your true self for the greater goal or their greater vision. But since it's in Aries, it's definitely very egocentric. So don't allow yourself to be taken advantage by other people that are only using you for their self-interest, that are more than likely super fucking selfish. There are times to be selfish and there are times to not be selfish. But I'm just saying, just with this energy, there is definitely a propensity here to where you can be taken advantage of, or you can shoot yourself in the foot and your true wants and desires because of some sort of greater goal, whatever like that. So don't get caught up in stupid internet arguments this day. Don't get caught up in all this sort of stuff, and don't really allow the people to really take advantage of you, right? You have the savvy to not do it. Mercury has moved past Vesta, but damn it, but it's in between this spot, right? And there's a whole can of worms you could be opening up you may not know about. Just saying. Just saying. You know? And it's kind of interesting too, because if we want to look at these deeper asteroids, we have Vesta making a trine over here to Ceres and Sagittarius. And Ceres in many ways represents the mother, it represents nurturance, represents food. And with it being in Sagittarius, this is about kind of a nurturance as far as our, there's definitely going to be an eagerness to learn. And this can be a good thing because you can nurture your eagerness to learn and really be committed to it, but people can also take advantage of your eagerness to learn and put you into situations and circumstances that aren't really for your benefit, but since you're so eager to learn and to kind of nurture that aspect and to kind of expand your philosophy, you may get blindsided. But you got to remember, you're not going to get past Jupiter. It's 23 degrees and it's coming back, it's coming back. I'm sorry, I hear my cat hurling in the background. How pleasant. And Pandora is trining Jupiter. Pandora's at 24 degrees. Jupiter is going to retrograde at 24 degrees. So it's like I said, Pandora is a gift. So there is a gift that we have been given. But are we going to open it, or are we going to be like, I want more? I want more. That's not the gift I want. You have been given what you need, beloved. I'm saying this to myself because sometimes I need to hear this shit. You've been given what you need. All right. I know we went through a lot just now. And I want to read some stuff in here. I want to read 18 degrees of Pisces because that's where Neptune is. And I also want to read where Pandora is going to be because I really do feel like that's important when it comes to appreciating what we have in our life and how to expand upon that by really embracing the quality of our spirit and trusting the quality of our spirit. Let's read 18 degrees of Aries. No, it wasn't 18 degrees. It was 24 degrees. Excuse me. 24 degrees of Aries. A harp which plays itself. This is where Pandora will be when Neptune stations, when Neptune goes to 18 degrees. This is where Pandora will be. Joy and freedom are perfect companions along the greater way. Joy celebrates existence with a passion and a power and a fervent insistency. Freedom keeps on opening the context to make it more universal, more resonant, and more karma-free. Opening the context, opening the box. Moving along this way is a creative feast of self-discovery and exploration of the edges. When selfhood is free to improvise and is open-ended, it is an unqualified blessing. I'm gonna read that again. When selfhood is free to improvise and is open-ended, it is an unqualified blessing. You most especially demonstrate and embody a self-generative style and substance that is widely needed and inspirationally infused into the collective bloodstream, so that we can get on with innovations in limitless worlds and feel confident that there is somebody there pioneering the bold reaches forward who is too foolish to stop for anything. So in many ways, we're all going to be doing that. We're all going to sort of open up this Pandora box. And since Neptune is going to be at 18 degrees of Pisces for the first time since 1855, we're all going to kind of defile our higher self in some type of way. You know, now how you want to finesse, that's really up to you. But this is saying that really there's, you know, this is saying that, you know, there's this urge for this freedom. There's this insistency to move things forward. And I think we will, but we have to do it in a different way. We had to, you know, and it's funny because this is Aries. So Aries definitely loves to force the issue, but this is 24 degrees of Aries. So it's like heading more toward the Taurus vibe. This is a ram that's tired of fighting these young bucks, these young sheep. And it's like, they're kind of ready to just sit and just eat grass like a bull. You know what I mean? So it's like there's an aspect of us that's almost kind of wanting to do that, but it's like a part of it's like, I don't know if I necessarily want to fight like that. I kind of want to just enjoy things and chill out and just kind of appreciate selfhood and kind of innovate who I am, you know? Let's read Pisces 18 degrees. And I don't think I read this before coming on here, so this will be interesting. Sora Neptune will be. White lilies blooming alone in the shade, gifted with deep and subtle qualities that are germinating in the subconscious and coming into their own. Already we're talking about gifts. Transported into inner worlds in order to dream, imagine, and conceive from a pure place. Disengaged with phenomenal appearances, staying just apart. Much that goes on here stays under, percolates timelessly. A special karma to cultivate the mysteries, to be different yet no issue. Deep down in their creative forces work unceasingly and design alternatives for the world to partake in the world, if the world turns that way. So it's like, I really feel like this is just talking about, you know, really tapping into that deeper quality and really, like I said, not getting too caught up. It says disengaged with phenomenal appearances, disengaging from this dogma, this slapsticky, flashy, look over here, look over there. You gotta go inside, brothers. You gotta go inside. These next couple of months are going to be a powerful shift because, and it might be confusing because it's like we want to move forward and we're being asked to move forward by also taking a step back. And that can be kind of weird because we may want to try and force the issue, but this is not a time to force the issue. This is the time to just kind of look at what we have and be like, damn, I got it good. I'm grateful. Yeah, there are some things here that can work out. I can work this thing out of here. I kind of want this to be in a better vibration and this over here as well. But this is not really a time to be like just like pleading and asking for another $100,000 from your rich ass parents, another $100,000 from your rich ass parents, another $100,000 from your rich ass parents. Don't know why I'm getting that vibe. I just am, you know. These next few months are really going to reveal who is like unnecessarily selfish. Because selfishness is not inherently bad. But when you take it to this sort of inverse where it's like just unnecessarily selfish, especially when you just squander away what you have, then it's kind of fucked up. You know, it's like you squandered away all the things that I gave you. Why would I give you more? You know? I'm not trying to paint like a bad tent on these next few months. I'm just saying that there's a lot of powerful things happening, a lot of aspects a lot of aspects that will happen in the next few months that are making aspects to things that happened before, and how some of the planets are even lined up to where things are before, like lined up with full moons and new moons and all this sort of stuff. It's intense. It's crazy. And I'm glad to be a part of the ride. I do want to catch up to the comments, and then I'm going to get out of here. Yo, so let's see what's good. What's good? Oh, DJ Mr. Good News, what's up? I actually was meaning to reach out to you. Thank you so much for joining. Amanda Jackson, what's up? Glad that you guys all could join. Let's see. I also have 1 billion subscribers. Not all of them are, actually most of them aren't incarnated here. Yeah. Let's see. Elon Musk's Hyperloop coming soon, right? Let's see. I was like, Jupiter skipped 2 signs in 1 month and didn't see the 1855. Yeah. I was going back and forth with it like that. Sometimes stepping back gives you a better view of what you can do better. Very true. Very true. That's so true. The best way to manifest money is to spend money. If you save money, the universe won't give you more. That's also very true, but you got to spend it wisely. Thank you so much for saying this, Jamal. You're very welcome, Sig. Good vibes. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, D-Style, for tuning in when you did. For anyone who tuned in whenever they did, of course, Spells Inc., you always come through. I really appreciate it. But I hope that this helps. I know I got a little technical. I know I got a little complex and got in there a bit. Talked about some deeper aspects, but I just want to make sure that you guys are prepared as much as possible coming into these next few months. And if I feel like I'm in a position to give at least some type of clarity on what's to come, then I'm going to do that. Of course, I'm along with this journey with you. So it's like I have my own lessons to work through. I have my own karma to work through. So it's not like just because I'm bringing this information to you and I can explain it, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be going through this as well. I'm right here with you all. So it's like, but no, you don't annoy me, Spells Inc. Are you kidding me? You don't annoy me. You're good, dude. You're good. Nah, dude. You're a good man. Thanks for the reminder to clean up my friends list. This is actually kind of a good time to do that. This is a good time to clean up your friends list. I was thinking about like going through and like cleaning out contacts on my phone that I haven't seen, whatever, that I don't really talk to. I was thinking about going through and like even deleting. And I kind of should have. I guess I could have done that during the Mercury retrograde, but it's still gonna be in shadow, so I can still do it. But I was thinking even like going through like my computer and deleting a bunch of like old files and shit. You know, stuff like that. So. Yeah, the next few months from now to that solstice. So it's kind of interesting. So it's like a 3-month period from solstice to solstice. This is really interesting how this Neptune retrograde, because Neptune went retrograde at 16 degrees of Pisces in 2018. So we actually are experiencing the 17 energy is new, but also the 18 energy is new as well. So we're kind of getting like 2 steps. We're getting 2 degrees. So I currently have. Do you have more Facebook friends than I do? I have like just shy of 600 friends on Facebook. I don't really feel the need to like delete anyone. I feel like people will just delete me, probably if I'm just annoying talking about astrology and tarot and metaphysics and stuff. So I'm like, whatever. But you know, I don't really. I don't know. I know some people that have like maxed out friends lists and stuff like that. I'm just like, I mean, I guess that's cool. I don't even think what's the number of people that you can actually know like intimately that they say apparently. I think it's actually a pretty small number of people that you can actually know intimately and know more about their life, and that's not just an acquaintance. I can't remember what it is. I'm deep in the entrepreneurial community. Well, there you go. That's cool. You know, entrepreneurs are going to change the world. It really just depends on their slant. So sometimes I get kind of annoyed by seeing Ty Lopez ads when I'm on YouTube, whatever like that. But that dude's killing it, so I can't even front. And even I was in his 67 steps at one point. I didn't finish it, but I guess if I finished it, I could have more money than I do right now. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't be doing this stuff too. So it's like every little step counts. Every little bit helps, you know. So I tried you know, different business ventures and all this sort of stuff, and they did not work out, and that's okay. That's okay if it doesn't always all work out. Sometimes you just gotta. I'm not a Ty Lopez fan, enough said. I go, I don't watch his stuff really like that. um I used to. Now I just kind of get annoyed by it, honestly. And I'm just sort of like, but at the same time, like he's crushing and doing what he's doing, so I can't really front as far as that goes. He's doing some things right. He's helped a lot of people make a lot of money. Um, a lot of people that might have not made that kind of money if he wasn't there. So I mean, that's good for those people. I hope that I do. I hope that they're happy with their lives. You know what I mean? So I wonder how many entrepreneurs would be left if people had unlimited money. That is the key question. You nailed it right there, because being an entrepreneur is not necessarily about chasing the money and stuff like that. It's about finding it's about finding inconsistencies in society and wanting to fix them. Entrepreneurs fix problems. So if everyone had unlimited money, that doesn't necessarily mean, that's the funny thing. If everyone had unlimited money, that wouldn't mean problems would go away. You would need people to diagnose and fix these problems, and that's what entrepreneurs do. So it's like, yeah, how many people would still do it? That's why, like, I wanted to write this story where people essentially, it was reverse what our society is, where you would work only 2 days out of the week and you were off 4 to 5 days. But you were only required to work 2 days because it had gotten to a point where healthcare was great and all this sort of stuff was great. Pretty much your rooming and your lodging was pretty much taken care of, and all you had to really do was work 2 3 days out of the week, and that was the norm, and you were off those 4 to 5 days. How many people would just be lazy as shit? How many people will be writing books, doing art? Some people would, but how many people would actually be pursuing their real crafts if they had more days than not? You know what I mean? So I think that'd be kind of a cool thing to kind of address. Like I'm a sales coach, but people I attract can't afford a low ticket training. You gotta be willing to invest. You know what I mean? It's like some people don't really want to invest, and that's why, like, I know that eventually with my astrology and like my prices, whatever like that, they'll eventually go up. But it's like the value that I give people, I'm like, you know what? I think my most expensive reading right now is $120, but I do have a coupon on my website that gives you a percentage off. So it's like, yeah, I guess you can with that same $100, you can go, you know, I guess you can go to a concert, or you can watch some movies, whatever like that, or you can do whatever you want to do with that $100. Buy a video game or buy some clothes. But I'm gonna give you like some secrets to success. Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna give you some secrets to success, and that's like, if the right people show up, and it's cool. Whether it's through me actually doing readings for people, or whether it's through these videos, the right people will come, and You know, it's like some people would rather sit and watch a 2 to 3 hour movie of people in colored tights than sit and watch a 2 to 3 hour video on astrology or whatever, these metaphysical arts. And it's like, you can watch that other movie anytime you want, you know, and I guess technically you can watch this anytime you want because it's going to be on YouTube, but it's like, I mean, I don't have an issue with watching movies, but it's like, I have no issue sitting and watching to someone babble on for 2 to 3 hours about astrology. Like it's just fun. It's like especially like people like the Leo King and the P Stealer and Olivia from OJC Astrology. Like I have no issue just listening to them talk about astrology for hours. Like that's for me is like, it not only is it entertainment because they are fun and they engage, but it's like, it's so informative. And these movies, that's a whole other thing about Neptune, is that these movies are informative. These movies are informative. They tell you truth. They drop truth, especially the cartoon movies. But people hardly ever catch them. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I'm probably going to go ahead and get out of here. But thank you all so much for joining. And you have what it takes. You have what it takes. Good idea. Maybe if I was a little bit more professional as far as like with the live stream stuff like that, and actually had maybe more charts, and I actually had that one link I wanted to show you guys and stuff. But I've been thinking about doing video courses actually. So I was going to actually do a live webinar for the personal planets, but the link that was in my description was a broken link. So, and it was on my website for like a month and no one bought it, probably because the link broke or it wasn't good. So, not if, no, if it appears more real. Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna have to get you on the channel, Spellsy. It's gonna be fun. I know our time zones are kind of far apart, so this is you overthinking Mercury retrograde. You're damn right. The last day of Mercury retrograde. So, but anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I love you all so much. I hope you got some value out of this, and definitely hope that you utilize the next few months to your advantage and realize that you have all the gifts. You all have everything that you need to move forward in your life and to have the success that you want. And it's okay if your success looks different than someone else's success, or your definition of success looks different than someone else's definition of success. It's absolutely okay. Don't let anyone trick you into telling you what success is when that really is dependent upon how you feel and what you think and what you deeply feel within your soul and spirit. Thank you so much, Spellsink. I really do appreciate it. I really do. But you all have a lovely, lovely, blessed rest of your day and evening and moment. And as always, my beautiful brothers and sisters, always remember to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often.